Spain 5, France 4. Post-game reaction coming up. This episode of the Managing Madrid podcast is brought to you by Hilton Miami Downtown. Real Madrid will be playing against Al Hilal at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. And if you're planning on making the trip to see that game, make sure to book your stay at Hilton Miami Downtown. This upscale hotel is centrally located in downtown Miami along the Biscayne Bay and is connected to the Metro Mover. It features a rooftop pool, well-equipped gym, and spacious rooms. The elegant rooms at Hilton Miami Downtown feature floor-to-ceiling windows, so make sure to book your stay at Hilton Miami Downtown when you go see Real Madrid play in the Club World Cup in literally like 10 days or less, something like that. It's Legends Week over on emoji-mates.com, and today we're rocking Cristiano Ronaldo. I got the R9 shirt. I don't know if you can see on that small little corner on the screen there. This is the, peak athletic Cristiano Ronaldo that I'm wearing. But since it's Legends Week, you can head on over to emoji-mates.com, MOJI-MATES.com, and use code LEGENDS for 25% off. And you can see all the legends on the screen, from Eusebio to Pelé to Di Stefano to Zidane to Cristiano Ronaldo, Noodle Hair, even Lionel Messi and Cruyff and Ronaldo Nazario, Maradona, and it goes on and on. There are so many options for you. I'd go and do a Modric shirt because we're saying goodbye to Modric. There's also Ancelotti shirts. There's a lot to choose from. Go to emoji-mates.com and use code LEGENDS for 25% off. And shout out to our presenting sponsor, TAFC Academy. TACsports.ca is where you want to go if you're in Toronto. They got the best coaching, training, the facilities, everything is elite. They got the best in the city. If you're in Toronto, you want to sign up your kids for summer camps, including swimming clinics, basketball clinics, footy clinics. Head on over to TACsports.ca and register your children before it's too late and spots fill up for the summer. We are going to react to that crazy game, Spain 5, France 4 in the UEFA Nations League semifinals. So let's get to it.
Nice article in the Managing Madrid blog. Wonderful lads that do a great job there. And worth reading about that man there. Karim Benzema needs to rest, and the numbers reveal why.
Times ended up almost looking like a 6-3-1. Some very good writing about that on the Managing Madrid website. First-rate podcast as well. Of course, Fede Valverde was a huge part of the equation.
What's up, Leah Ravel? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm not sure entirely how to feel about what we just watched.
I have so many mixed feelings. So many different feelings.
It was a roller coaster.
Uh-huh.
Like 25 minutes ago, if you had told me this game would have ended 5-4 with France getting like a little bit of a flurry of like free kicks and half-ass chances at the end to make it 5-5, I would have been very surprised. Spain made subs. They took their foot off the gas. France's subs made an impact from Cherki. I mean, Cherki was really the main one who came in and made a big impact. Ultimately, I think Didier Deschamps, no excuses for him. I don't care about his subs and the fact that he made it close at the end. He has war crimes to answer for. He needs to be put in. He needs to be questioned by the United Nations. He needs to be locked in a cell and think about what he's done to this talented team. For the last 2 years, I haven't enjoyed watching France play.
Right.
Probably since 2022 World Cup final. And that really took Mbappe putting the team on his back.
Even then, honestly. Like, since 2018, realistically. Or maybe like the brief spell when Benzema played in and won the Nations League, by the way.
That was fun. Benzema was perfect. Exactly what this France team needs right now. That leadership and attack. Someone who can play in the box. Although I know Benzema likes to play outside the box himself. He's a link-up player, but can be a target. My mind, Leah, went to Giroud a lot in this game.
Yes.
I saw a lot of like, kind of pains me to say it, but I saw a lot of Real Madrid in France today.
Yeah.
A lot of players who like playing outside the box, no one to really hit. I think the flurry in the second half, and it actually started like out of the gates in the second half. they started to make more runs in the box, and
Mhm.
that made a difference. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a weird Mbappe year, wouldn't you say, Leah? I mean,
Yeah.
this is kind of the theme. This game was the theme of his season. Puts up numbers
Mhm.
individually, wins the penalty, scores the penalty, gets an assist, although Cherki did a lot to get him that
Mhm.
assist. And his team is just getting blown out. And it's kind of a weird one. And I don't think it's his fault. And I've had so many monologues about this, but this is just, I feel like
Yeah.
I'm looking at Xabi Alonso to come in and save this situation.
Yeah. Xabi Alonso for Real Madrid, Zinedine Zidane for France, because big Rabiot in big 2025.
I don't get
I
it.
mean, you know what I mean? Even Kone. Okay. I would have argued maybe, I mean, would Cherki start? Maybe not. Should he have? Maybe, maybe not. Where is the question? Langley, I know I think Saliba's injured. I don't know. I said what I said. And I think that's probably, I don't know if I have excuses necessarily for, I have some excuses for Mbappe, but I don't know if I have a lot. I just think he's been off in general. But maybe if like Tchouameni was in there instead of freaking Rabiot, there would have been a little more cohesion. Who knows?
I agree. I mean, Tchouameni didn't get a lick in this game. Tchouameni, who is one of France's most informed midfielders right now, if you're looking at 2025, the calendar year.
Mhm.
I also think, I mean, you mentioned Longley. I mean, obviously, France are a very, very deep roster, and they have been one of the deepest rosters in the world for several years now. And it begs the question, like, whether it's Tchouameni or Rabiot, although I think we can all sit here and agree that Rabiot was horrendous today. And
Shock, right?
I mean, on both ends, even on the ball, like it wasn't just his mistakes on defense.
Yeah.
Like he was just like his decision making. And I think like even somebody like Dembouz wasn't at his best, if you ask me.
Yeah.
And part of that is
Doué.
Doué. Part of that is maybe excusable because they're coming off, the Champions League
Yep.
final. There's probably a bit of a hangover there or whatever.
Mhm.
I just think like this team is way too talented to be playing this way, and I think it's similar to Ancelotti in that. And I just want to give Ancelotti some peace because he's a legend and he's left the club, and I don't like he should be celebrated right now. But I do
Yeah.
think like there is a bit of reactivity in the scheme. Like when you look
Mhm.
at Spain, it's a proactive approach.
Yeah.
It's like we don't care what you're gonna do. We're going to
Mhm.
impose our will on the game. We're going to make life really difficult for you. We're going to attack, and it doesn't matter who's on the field.
Yeah.
Lamine Yamal is obviously an incredible player, but like if Lamine Yamal wasn't there, they would have played the same way. They would have
Yeah.
went at France, and they would have been relentless about it.
Mhm.
And I think with France, it's like you have arguably definitely two of the best front three in the world right now. You
For
like
sure.
two of them at least, in Dembele and
Yeah.
Mbappe.
Mhm.
And the third one, and Doué has been in incredible form.
Mhm.
They have the pieces. Like they had Pedro Porro at right back. There was space to exploit. Spain were actually making mistakes. They were giving the ball away.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's just like that final decision for France just really killed them. I think.
Mhm.
It's a bad pass, delayed pass, dribbling when they didn't need to, and yeah, it's just I don't know what else needs to happen, but Deschamps needs to step down. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Bring in Zizou. This team,
Yeah.
it's not too late to save this team for the World Cup. You roll with Deschamps, I think it's doomed to fail.
Yeah, I agree. Dare I say that even Tchouameni at center back instead of Langley would have been a better decision to start with.
Yeah. Can we talk about Dean Howson though? And we got super chats after that.
Yeah, let's do it. Incredible player. I'm very excited about that signing. He's just a chill guy. Kiani's just a chill guy.
Shame that his goal got disallowed.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great. I mean, all of Spain's goals I think were pretty great. I mean, I honestly I stopped writing them down after some point because it just got so out of hand. I mean, the first goal, Lamin's pass into Oyarzabal in the box was great. Oyarzabal, a really strong game. I was impressed with his hold up play.
Yeah.
He had I think he had like 4 key passes at halftime. If I read that correctly, I closed the tab. and he had that nice layoff assist to Nico. One of them was a penalty. I think it was the 4-0 with that great link up between Merino and Nico and Pedri. And then the disallowed goal was this really great pass from Lamine into the box. He dinks it in. And then Huijsen's finish was great. He had kind of like reach behind him and redirect it. It was not an easy finish, especially for a center back. I think I'll ask you this. What excites you the most about Huijsen at Real Madrid next season?
I mean, he's young, he's hungry. I just think that he's exactly what our defensive line needs. And I think from what we've seen with, even Bournemouth, honestly, what we've seen there, he offers everything that we have and everything that we're missing, if that makes sense. If you also think about our defensive line and the defenders that we have, beside maybe Asensio, everyone's like in their 30s or almost, getting old. And I think that his age plays a big role in this, because he could, especially under Xabi Alonso, he could just like clean up the edges, and he could be our next like long-term starting defender, which I think is something that very obviously we need.
Yeah, I mean, apart from the obvious stuff, I thought he was good defensively too. I mean, he had some couple key blocks, one on Elisa in the first half, in the box, and was pretty composed. I also think like it's just his on ball is so refreshing to watch.
Yeah.
His ability to play out of the back. He has composure to play those vertical passes, those long range passes. And broken record stuff here, but like between him, like we're adding all the pieces that Xabi Alonso would like to have in his system, in terms like Trent ball playing right back, Dean ball playing center back, Carreras should be official in a few days hopefully, is really good on the ball. And so these are the profiles that we need. We had so many build-up issues last season, and just to circle it back to Dean looked just so comfortable on the ball, and it was great to see. Really excited about him.
Another thing to mention there too is if he's partnered with whoever it is, Rudiger, Asensio, those defenders are the type of, not only are both of those actually underrated ball playing defenders as well, but they've got like the destroyer in them, which is what you need in a defensive pairing. Because if you look at like Ramos and Varane, it was kind of Ramos was obviously a ball playing defender as well, but it's kind of that same dynamic where you have a more, tricky, kind of cheeky offensive one, and then you have one that will kind of clean up the pieces in the back if you need it. And I think we'll have that partnership with Dean and whoever will be his defensive partner.
Yeah, I would guess it would be Huijsen and Rudiger.
Yeah.
But knowing Xabi Alonso, there will be plenty of rotations. I mean, the thing is, like, so, I do these Instagram Q&As for our subscribers on our stories, and someone asked me today, they're worried about Xabi Alonso, not succeeding, and we need to buy more center backs. And my response was like, if you look at the books, we have a lot of center backs, actually. I'm not saying it's the perfect ideal list of center backs that you would handpick and draft out of world football, but that's not how football works. But like just think about it. Dean, Rudiger, Asensio, and if I had to guess, I think the Asensio case will end in a way that will not get him found guilty. And this in part has to do with, I think, Real Madrid taking over the legal side of things, and their confidence in Asensio's innocence here. But we'll see what happens there. But I'm going to count him in for now. But we have Rudiger, Dean, Asensio, Militao, Alaba. That's 5. You want to talk about Jean Martinez in the academy, 6, Jacobo Ramon, 7. And then you got like the fillers who can kind of play there. Tchouaméni, I won't say 8, but let's say 7.5. Unless you sell some center backs, you're not going to buy new ones. And even if you do sell those center backs somehow, which no one wants Militao and Alaba right now, then you have to go dip into the market, and that's never a sure thing either. So we
Yeah.
have a lot of defenders on the books. But I think like between Chabi's rotations and
Mhm.
all the defenders we have, I think we'll be able to keep hopefully our starting center backs fresh for the springtime. And I think it's
Yeah.
going to be Dean and Rudiger.
Yeah, I think that's what it'll start with for sure. I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised though, like you said, if we see significant rotation, not only with Asensio, but also the Castilla players, because I would love to see that, honestly, because I
Yep.
think they didn't get a fair. Well, I mean, a couple of Ramon especially didn't get a fair introduction into the first team. A lot of pressure, some not great performances, and so I'm hoping that Xabi Alonso will like really boost the confidence of the youngsters.
Yep, for sure. I agree with you. I also am interested to see the dynamic between Arbeloa and Xabi Alonso and how that kind of like feeder system might work. I don't think Raul and Ancelotti was that efficient.
Yeah.
And we can get into reasons why, but I assume that this one will be a little bit better and more strategic, hopefully. We're going to have so much time to talk about Club World Cup and Xabi Alonso. We won't necessarily do it today. Also, shout out to all of our members who joined Lucas and I on the mailbag yesterday. We did a big segment on Mastantuono, and also just gave kind of like our take on and the truth behind the Verts rumors that were floating around a couple days ago. That was only for members, patreon.com/managing Madrid. If you're on YouTube, simply hit join. There should be a join button underneath this video if you're on browser. Let's take super chats. Man like Mimo says, I'm sorry, but how did Cherki drop a man of the match performance in 25 minutes? Everything looks so effortless. Pep is going to make him robotic.
Well, not wrong, in my opinion.
Is he going to City? Did I miss that?
I think so.
Mm.
I think I saw that. Is it confirmed or is it a rumor still?
It's not confirmed. So that's why I thought maybe like I missed something like in the last like hour or so. But I love it. I mean, he's one of those names also. I feel like he should be like 28 by now because we've been hearing his name for years.
Yeah.
But he's only 21. And he's
Yeah,
clearly
that's
very
crazy.
talented. He's an impressive attacking player. Cherki was great. Again, definitely changed the complexion of the game. Aman Rohela says, we dodged a bullet with Teo. Not going to lie, I'd prefer Fran.
Come on, please.
I would take Teo over Fran. Without thinking twice.
Yeah.
Rocky says, absolutely brain dead to go for Franco over Cherki. Our scouts suck ass. Oh, wow. Okay.
Interesting.
This is the second super chat in a row I'm just going to disagree with. Okay, so it actually, quite frankly, like if in 5 years, 2 years, who knows, maybe you'll be proven right, Rocky. We don't know the answer to this round now. And to say that Juni Calafat sucks ass is a hell of a take.
Yeah.
That is the biggest contrarian take, forced contrarian take I can think of. Juni Calafat is a magician. Should we talk about Franco now? I mean, I think
Sure.
I was asking you off here if we can get your husband Diego to talk. Diego gave us a scouting report on Mastantuono a few weeks ago, and he spoke very highly about him. I'll just mention that, you know, Lucas and I were talking about, because last time Lucas kind of checked in on the Mastantuono thing around the start of the new year, Real Madrid were frustrated with the agents, and I think something turned in the last week or so. And whether it was PSG getting involved or Real Madrid just really doubling down, or Mastantuono himself just making sure like, hey, this is my dream club. Can you make sure that I go there and not to PSG? Whatever happened, some positive stuff happened. Mastantuono obviously is a very talented player. Give us your thoughts on him, and if you know, is Diego around? Can we also get his opinion?
I actually made a reel.
You were about to speak Spanish. I think
Yeah,
I could tell you had an accent change there.
Yeah. I actually made a reel on Instagram in like May or June or July, sometime a lot earlier this year, about him. And from what I've seen, he's young, he's hungry, he's good, the man himself. And I think that he's a good player profile. And he's, like I said, he's young. So Xabi Alonso can kind of mold him to what he wants him to be. And we have a hell of a history with River. So here, he'll tell you all about it.
What's up, Diego?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you? We're so I don't know if you can see the super chat, but this person is saying that we should have gone for Cherki over Mastantuono. Can you debate him? Can you give us
I think
tell us why he's so special?
Yeah, the main difference is also for me that he's 17 years old only. Like, he's still like kid. But I think the good thing about him that he has been growing a lot over the last few months, especially because last year he wasn't starting because of course he was so young. But this year he get confident after every game he played. He got insane, and I think he's improving a lot playing as right wing now, cutting inside all the time, which also he's left-footed, so that's really helpful.
A left-footed right winger, is that not the exact player profile that we need?
I can't remember the last time we had one of those. I guess
Right?
like Arda, but he's not a traditional winger.
Bale.
Yeah, Bale. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Diego, this is a good signing for Real Madrid. Long term, short term.
For River, it sucks because we still have the Copa Libertadores apart from the World Cup, but it's annoying. But it was so hard for an Argentinian team to keep a talent like that for so long.
For so many reasons, for talent, for wages, for like, there's only so, especially like players that have a lot of potential, I feel like they just don't ever stay in Argentina or anywhere in the smaller leagues.
Right. Well, Diego, you'll still get to watch him with Real Madrid every week, so it's not
That's
too bad.
what I said. When he comes to Real Madrid, now he has to be a fan. So
yes, now you have to. You have no choice.
Madridista.
Awesome. Thank you, Diego.
No, you're welcome.
Ciao. Gracias.
Did I have anything else to say about Mastantuono?
I agree with that, though. I think that his position has evolved as of late with River, and I think that, like Diego said, he's a baby, so he's like the perfect age to keep developing, and he's just improving, especially on the right. And like I said, that's a no-brainer. A left-footed right winger and willing to play there, and an Argentinian that's willing to come to Real Madrid. It's just like, it's a match made in heaven, in my opinion.
The bigger question to me is like, what does this all mean for everything else, everybody else, the dominoes of that? You really, I mean, I personally think like as it stands right now, even without Mastantuono, we have so many players we need to fit in. And then is there like a target man coming in on top of that? Are you going to get like a Budimir? I really don't know. I've said this so many times. I have more questions than answers with what's going on right now. I'm interested, but I don't know. And then you throw in Mastantuono. Does he stay in the squad? Can you loan him back out? By all reports that he will play the Club World Cup with River and then come over after that. And I honestly have no idea, but I'm fascinated to see what Xabi Alonso will do, which ties into this next super chat from Rocky, and the last one we have, unless more come in. Rocky says City/PSG is going to be almost unstoppable with the players they're signing, as well as Liverpool getting great players. Xabi has to get us running from day one. Leah, you would have to agree that, like, in terms of upgrades and reactions, we're doing basically what Xabi needs.
Yeah, I'm shocked, actually. And I'm a little curious as to why, like, we obviously don't 100% know what happens behind the scenes, but, like, did Carlo ask for all these players? If he did, why was he denied a lot of these players? And why is Xabi Alonso getting, the green light? Maybe Xabi Alonso, I think we talked about this before, is just a little more demanding in his terms when coming to the club. Like, maybe he said or wanted, or maybe it's a little bit of both, that we were so bad this season that both Xabi Alonso and his demands and Perez were like, okay, make something happen. City PSG, I mean, I think more PSG than City. I think if Luis Enrique, what he's done with that PSG side, is just so many of them. Vitinha is unbelievable. I would love Vitinha, to be honest.
If Vitinha was an option tomorrow, we'd bring him, but it's
Right?
not possible. Yeah.
No. But I think that I actually saw something on Twitter today. I don't know how much truth there is to it that said Rodrigo would determine his future based on I think it actually said demanding to play right wing. And so I was like, okay, well, there's that. And if I see
Left
anything
wing, you mean?
happening, left wing, yeah.
Yeah. Which I don't know if that's actually a true thing, just to be fair.
Yeah. Because I can't imagine him thinking that he would take that position over both Mbappe and Vinny. But you never know. But we've had continuous conversations about what would happen with him in the future. And I think we can all agree, you and I and everyone in the chat, that if anyone was to leave in our attack, it would probably be him. I think with Trent coming in, like the response has just been overwhelmingly positive, I think, from Perez, because the transfer market hadn't even opened yet, and we had already signed all these players and a new manager. And I also think Mastantuono, because he's so young and so like diehard Real Madrid, and from what I've read, is very excited to play under Xabi Alonso. That's kind of like a perfect like recipe for success for Xabi Alonso, because he can mold this player into whatever he wants him to be. You know what I mean? I think historically, the dude's 17, but like he's more of a midfielder, but I think his role as of late has been evolved into a winger that does tend to cut inside. And so I think that offers a lot for our attack. And if Mastantuono can take that position and is willing to play there and performs well, is in good form, I think that's even more of a reason for Rodrigo to leave.
I have some thoughts on what you said. I just wanted, like, every time I'm reminded now, I have to just remind everybody, please like this video. You need to like the video. People need to people keep hammering that home for me. Keon, you got to remind people to like the video. So if you're watching this live, just hit like. It takes less than a nanosecond to hit the like button. It helps us and takes zero effort from you guys. I think the question of why did Ancelotti not get what he asked for, and Xabi Alonso is, I think it's not that straightforward. I think if Ancelotti theoretically stayed, he would have got Trent, because Trent would have been coming regardless. He would have gotten Dean because Real Madrid liked Dean and they scattered him out.
Yeah.
He would have got Lenny Yoro if Real Madrid went the extra mile and paid more money, which they didn't think it was justified. And I think he probably would have gotten Carreras and etc. And I think it was just unfortunate for him not to be able to see out this project. And in part, it's because it was time for him to move on, and that was the right decision. But I do think he would have gotten those names, and I do also think I think people are surprised in some way that Real Madrid have already made so many changes and the season isn't even over technically.
Yeah.
But I'm kind of not. And I think the reason why I'm not is because anytime Real Madrid hit rock bottom, there is a big reaction.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a massive reaction over the past 2 years other than like adding one player each year, like a Bellingham, like a Camavinga, like a Tchouaméni, etc. But you think to like our last three rock bottoms, I think 2009, obviously famous massive reaction. 2019, the Ajax elimination, we spent $3 bajillion trillion on Militao and Jovic and Hazard, etc. And now you fast forward to another disastrous campaign, and the reaction was inevitable. And we've already signed two officially plus new coach, and then I think we'll get 3 or 4 by the end of the week or month, etc. So yeah. One more super chat. Are we even talking about Spain, France anymore? I don't know. I don't know what we're talking about. Ed Sylvester says, why get another Arda Güler that plays right wing when we could be getting Stiller, whose profile we don't have yet? Arda can play right winger. Stiller is necessary.
I mean, I think we all agree that what we've seen this season from Arda on the right-hand side versus as a deep line playmaker, we're all very clear on what position he plays better. So I think that although we have very many potential right wing profiles, I think we don't have necessarily any left-footed right wing profiles, and we don't have any true starting caliber right wing profiles that are true right wingers. It's all been a lot of like, oh, well, they've played right wing here and there. They can play on the right, or they're wingers, so they can interchange. And I think that honestly, Mastantuono is a little bit of that as well. I just think he gives us a unique profile on that side, and he's a child. So I don't know. I think Stiller would be a good signing too. It's hard to say.
I think the question that Ed is posing is valid. I don't have the answer, but I only have a theory as to what, and we don't know what the end of the summer transfer window will look like yet. I think we have to be open to the idea that Arda Güler is going to be a midfielder next season in a deeper role where Stiller could potentially occupy. And I agree that Stiller looks like a really, really, really great player. What we've seen from him so far. But Güler is already a profile you have. You also have access to Nico Paz to bring him back. I think that Arda has shown that he is proving more and more capable playing in a deeper role. Even as far as like dropping between the center backs, being heavily involved in the build-up play. And obviously, the only person who can really answer this question, Ed, is Xabi Alonso and what he has in his mind. It's also worth remembering that Arda may also even take the Bellingham role for the first couple months of the season because of Bellingham's shoulder surgery. And his recovery time. He's not going to be there. So I think
is
it's
he
a
getting
valid
that
question.
for sure this summer?
What's that?
Is he getting that for sure this summer?
Yeah, he's going to get it after the Club World Cup.
Good. It's about time.
Yeah. Which I have conflicting feelings about. On one hand, I think it's a bit crazy that we're essentially prioritizing a handful of games in the Club World Cup over like 10 to 12 games in the league season.
Yeah, great.
And I probably would have shut him down the day after the Clasico loss in May.
Yeah.
To give him as much time in next season as possible to show up and be involved in the preseason. On the other hand, there is a lot at stake financially in the Club World Cup. And those games beyond the Pachuca, Al Hilal's, Salzburg's are going to be pretty difficult if you run into the PSG buzzsaw.
Yeah.
And whoever else we could face Manchester City as a potential opponent. Ryan Cherki's Manchester City may be standing in our way. So it's like I kind of get it. At first I was pretty like outraged by it. If I reflect on it, like I guess I get it, but I don't know. The league is like every game, the margin of error in the league is going to be razor thin, with Barca probably being good again next year. You got to win all those games. It's just as important to me, if not more, despite the financial prize of the Club World Cup. So we do have another super chat. The buzzer, Zeppelin says, do you guys believe it'll be good for the league if Klopp were to join Atletico? I'd like to see the league have more hype again. Wow. Is that that's so random? I'm not sure.
I didn't know that was a thing, but hell yeah. Are you kidding? First of all, Simeone has been at Atletico Madrid for 700 years. Okay. And he's played the same style of football for those 700 years. And it's the same boring defensive. Klopp would turn that Atletico Madrid team into like a killer. It would almost be scary, but it would be a fun watch.
I think this Klopp to Atletico thing was just purely fabricated by Zeppelin. And if all of a sudden tomorrow you see Klopp to Atletico rumors, you can credit Zeppelin super chat for it. That would be, if I'm Atletico Madrid, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
if that was possible. I think he
Mhm.
would be like it would be such a different style to what they currently play, but in a weird way, they also might be built for it because of the energy they like to play with.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, it would be good for the league and Atletico. I'm not sure it would be good for us, but yeah. I just have a couple more thoughts on
Here.
Spain versus France. Let's just circle it back before we wrap it up, Leah. I saw a lot of like, man, Spain are not this good, and France made them look really good. This is like I take issues with these comments, and here's why. We saw this a lot during the Euros too. England made
Mhm.
Spain look good. Germany made Spain look good. They're not that good. We saw it with Barca. Real Madrid made Barca look good. They're not that good, etc. And I'm like, dude, at some point you have to like credit teams. Like
Yeah.
it's not always the opponent sucks. Like clearly
Mhm.
that Spain is doing something right. I think coaching makes a big difference. I think they are the best coached national team in the world, and they have been for the past year or so. That makes
Mhm.
a huge difference and at the national team level, it's kind of rare to see really well coached teams. You have a lot of talented teams who just kind of disappoint you. England was a
Mhm.
big example of this.
Yeah.
So much
France.
talent. So France, obviously. I mean, France and England were the biggest culprits, I think.
Yeah.
Germany was at least okay. Yeah. So I just thought it would be worth like giving credit to Spain, who have been incredible, and it's not their fault if other teams are not well coached as they are.
I also think, especially before the Euros, Spain has a lot of like very underrated players. Like you have the Lamine Yamals, but then you have like the Oyarzabals and the Marinos that like you probably their effort and their contribution to that team flies under the radar a lot. And I think that's what sets them apart is they have these like very underrated machines on their team that plus, like you said, the well coached tactical side of it as well that just keeps them functioning as like a well oiled machine. So
Yeah.
but if you guys don't know, now you do know that the Nations League actually determines the Ballon d'Or. So when Portugal win against France in the final, our boy Cristiano Ronaldo is going to win the Ballon d'Or. I don't make the rules.
I
Barcelona
think
fans
it's
do.
gonna be a really fun final.
It will be.
Yeah. I also have to
It
say,
will.
like, the Germany Portugal game is. I mean, I have just a few thoughts because we didn't talk about that one at all. We didn't even do a stream after that game, but I mean, I don't think Vitinha was at his best, but
Agreed.
yet the way he came in and effortlessly just imposed his will and command and control on the game was super impressive.
Yeah.
And he's coming off like a Champions League final where he was incredible, and he
Mhm.
does so much. I mean, this is a really, really special midfielder.
Yeah.
Again, like a player that I think we all agree we would love to have at Real Madrid, but it's just not a possible signing. Um, it'll be fun to see that battle, and I want to say this about Cristiano. I think it's unbelievable what he's doing. I don't care
Insane.
that it was a tap in. Everyone
No,
complains
it's
about
insane.
tap ins. He is if tap ins were so easy, everyone in football would just have 50 goals a year of tap ins. First of all, he's not he's not even correctly labeled as a tap in merchant. Like 60% of his goals are just absolute bangers.
Yeah.
But the tap ins he does score, there's literally a reason for it. He is the greatest off ball mover in the history of football, and it's not close. Nobody has his off
Yeah.
ball intelligence ever.
And I was going to
And
say that. This is
Mhm.
what people say about tap ins. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
But just to add about tap ins, people say, oh, tap in, tap in, tap in. Like it's that easy. And it's not because it requires football IQ. It requires the proper run at the proper time. It requires positioning to be in the right place at the right time. So
yeah.
I'm just saying, I agree with you.
I mean, the other thing I would say is that the numbers in it's honestly a joke. It's honestly a joke what he's doing.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was I was just reflecting on a lot of old articles and just things from my book, and
Mm.
I came across this quote in 2015 where he's talking about like if I play until I'm 40, it's because I take care of myself.
Hmm.
And there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
And it's so funny to reflect because if you put yourself in a time machine and go back to 2015, there were actually people who thought he would decline early
Hmm.
because his game relied so much on physical ability.
Yeah.
And they underrated his tactical ability. I mean, his technical ability. And they underrated just how much he would endure physically because of how freakish he is athletically and how much he takes care of himself. And
Hmm.
also how intelligent he is with his instinct and off ball movement.
Hmm.
And then in 2015, like right after that quote, he became Real Madrid's all-time top scorer. And then after that, went on to play 3 more seasons, was pretty much lights out. And then he goes to Juve, scores over 100 goals in 3 years.
Hmm.
And then he goes to Saudi. The last 2 years, the numbers in Saudi are a joke. He scored over 85 goals
Hmm.
in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And I don't
Crazy.
care that it's Saudi. I really don't care. He's 40.
Yeah, literally.
I would challenge you guys to go and score 50 goals in your rec league. I don't care. Play
At
like
20.
put some toddlers on the field. Go
Yeah.
nuts. Do it in your peak even if you want to. He's
Yeah.
40 playing in a professional league. And by the way, may I remind you the names that went to Saudi league and did not put up
Yeah.
85 goals in 2 years, like Sadio Mane, like Karim Benzema, who I love, like
Yeah.
Neymar, who got injured, unfortunately. But it's
Mhm.
not like it's insane what he's doing. People will do anything they can to discredit this man.
Yeah.
Hey, man, 2025 and he's scoring a game winner to get to the Nations League final.
Insane.
What a legend. What a
And
legend.
also, do you not feel like it was just yesterday that he hit 900 goals? And everyone was like, oh, it's going to be too long until he hits 1,000. But now the dude's already at, what is it, like 960 or 940, 947 or something?
Something like that.
Wild.
I think he'll hit 1,000.
Easily. He's playing in the 2026 World Cup, 100%. Well, it's next year. But that's actually crazy. In my head, I thought it was further away than the next year. But for sure.
Yeah, it's coming up.
Yeah.
It's coming up. It's nonstop. One more super chat, the buzzer. Man like Mimo says, look at Kylian's box movement compare against Ronaldo. If France had him today, they score those rebounds like how Portugal are using him. Love you, MM. Right back at you. I mean, they're just different types of players. I don't know what know.
Very much
Mbappe is pretty lethal in his own way, but he's not like a box predator or a target guy. And I think Cristiano, that's what's part of what's so impressive about him is the evolution of his play.
Yeah.
Especially like when Zidane came in and Zidane started to convince Ronaldo to rotate more, to play more advanced up the field and in the box is more of a target guy. And Ronaldo he could do it.
Yeah.
It's incredible. Yeah.
Well, honestly, that's an issue for France, which is also the same issue, ironically, that we have.
Yes.
So.
Yes. And then basically to rectify the issue, you need to pair him with other people. That would make sense. And I don't think Real Madrid have been able to do that. Or at least, this is a deep discussion. I don't necessarily want to get into it today because we've talked about it so much and we will have so much time to talk about it. Anthony says, Xavi, Franco, Dean, TAA, and Carreras arriving soon. The Papa Flow haters have gone real quiet over the last few weeks.
Period. Yeah, it's wild.
I mean, Papa Flow having haters is still a crazy thing to me. I understand he's not perfect. I understand that you can complain about certain things he does or says or decisions in the transfer market. Nobody has his track record. He's the greatest president.
Easily.
Yeah.
By far. Look at the players that he signed over the last decade. Insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, we are going to be back Sunday after the UEFA Nations League final. We look forward to seeing you guys live on the stream after the game. I think it's going to be a fun one for obvious reasons. There's a lot of cool storylines in that one. And we are going to see you guys there. If you guys want written analysis, go to managingmadrid.com. There's all kinds of there's scouting reports on Dean Huijsen. There's analysis on today's game already on the site, and the game just finished. We got a huge article that I dropped about Xabi Alonso and what we know about Real Madrid so far this season. I know a lot of you guys listen to the podcast. You may not necessarily consume the written content, but you should. Go to managingmadrid.com, get a ton of analysis. And we will see you guys on Sunday. And as a side note, if you're in New York, we're doing a live show in New York. That's the day before the Club World Cup final. If you are interested in attending, come and hang out with us to discuss Xabi Alonso and the Club World Cup run. I just put the link in the chat, and I'll put the link in the show notes as well to RSVP on July 12th. Leah, thank you so much. Appreciate
Don't
it.
forget to like the video
Yeah, like the video. Hit like. Hit like. Subscribe.
right now.
Do it right now.
And we'll
Thanks,
be back
guys. See you
next
Sunday.
time. Bye.
Peace out.